You know how sometimes you're just like talking about something totally normal, and then suddenly it just shifts?
Oh, yeah, totally. Happens all the time.
Like 1 minute we were talking about, I don't know, just trying to make it in this city, the grind, right?
Right. The
And the
hustle.
next thing you know, we're like way down this rabbit hole.
Hmm.
And this one felt deep, like really deep.
Yeah, this whole sugar dating thing, it kept kind of popping up, didn't it?
It really did. Conversation stuff I was seeing online, little clips here and there. It felt like something we just had to dig into, you know?
Definitely. It's been rattling around in my head, too.
Yeah.
Because on the surface, it feels so so internet age.
Right. Very grammable.
Exactly. But then when you start looking, like really looking, the roots go way, way back. It's kind of wild.
So what have we been looking at, just so you know where we're coming from?
All sorts of stuff. Academic papers, definitely some psychology deep dives, but also like really raw personal stories from forums and things.
Yeah, those hit hard.
Hmm. And even some legal perspectives, which gets complicated fast. So the mission here, I guess, is just to unpack it. What is this thing, really? Why do people do it? And what's hiding behind that shiny filter?
Okay, let's do it. So that shiny filter first. The public image, what does that look like?
Well, it's exactly what you said. It's curated. It's aspirational.
Is those posts, right?
Mhm.
Tag a friend who needs a sugar daddy. Or like, these nails don't pay for themselves. That whole vibe.
Totally. It's sold as this like glamorous shortcut, an elevated dating lifestyle. That's a phrase I saw.
Yeah, or an adventure. It's all about getting access to luxury experiences, you know, the good life, basically.
And the platforms themselves, they lean into that hard. They talk about mutually beneficial arrangements. Some are even rebranding, right? Trying to ditch the sugar word.
Oh, yeah, like date up or just seeking instead of seeking arrangement. It's smart marketing, honestly. Selling an experience.
It really is. They're selling the travel, the dinners, the designer stuff. More than just a date. It's a whole package deal.
But, okay, beyond the glossy ads,
Yeah.
what does it actually mean? Because the definition gets fuzzy really fast.
Uh-huh. Super fuzzy. So the platforms might claim it's just, dating according to standard parameters, whatever that means.
Right, vague.
Super vague. And look, some people involved genuinely describe it as like a business thing, companionship, and they stress companionship for money and gifts. No sex involved, they say.
Okay, so clear boundaries for some.
For some, maybe, but then you hear other stories or you look at what like government agencies or researchers say, and it's a whole different picture.
Like what?
Like calling it disguised prostitution, or just flat out saying, look, sex for money is common here.
Wow.
So it really makes you question that new sex message,
Yeah.
Is it marketing? Is it trying to avoid legal trouble? Because some places do classify it as sex work and ban the sites.
Right, it's this huge gray area. Is it dating? Is it a transaction? Where's the line?
Exactly. And that's where, for me, the history part just clicks everything into place. Because this isn't new.
Not at all. When I
Yeah.
started looking back, I was like, oh, this is just a modern label for something ancient.
Totally. Kept women, mistresses, courtesans.
Demi-mondaines, concubines, even going way back, like Jateri in Greece or geishas in Japan in certain ways.
Yeah. The names change, the tech changes, but that core dynamic. One person providing material stuff, the other providing companionship, intimacy, whatever the deal is.
It's been around forever. It's not history repeating. It's just continuous. We just repackage it, put it online.
And that history really highlights the power dynamics, doesn't it? No matter how you brand it today. Which brings us right back to that fuzzy line between this and, like, normal dating.
Yeah, that fuzzy line. Because, okay, I read this thing that basically argued even vanilla dating has transactional bits. They're just unspoken.
How so?
Well, think about it. Especially early on, who usually pays for dates? Dinners, drinks, movies.
Typically the guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Stereotypically.
Right. And there's this kind of quiet expectation, isn't there? That paying for stuff might lead to something more. Intimacy, maybe. A relationship.
Yeah, there can definitely be that unspoken pressure or assumption.
And those kinds of arrangements, the traditional ones, they often lead to marriage.
Right.
So if there's already this subtle quid pro quo baked into how we normally date, how different is it when the money part is just upfront, explicit?
That's such a good question. It really throws a spotlight on money in all relationships. Like,
Well,
I was reading about how much pressure some guys feel, this constant need to provide stuff Gifts, fancy dates, whatever, just to keep someone interested.
Oh yeah, the provider pressure.
Huge. And the fear that if the money dries up, boom, the relationship's over. Like society tells them they're not worthy of love if they're broke.
Which is awful and so transactional, even if no one calls it that.
Exactly. And the research I saw really stressed that in healthy relationships, the ones without resentment, people see each other as equals. It's not about who earns what. Money isn't seen as proof of love.
But that's hard to achieve when society screams the opposite, especially at men.
So much harder than it sounds. Which leads to the big question. Why choose the explicit route? Why go for sugar dating? It can't just be the cash, right?
No way. It feels like there's got to be more layers. Which brings us to the why, the motivations.
And yeah, it's way more complex than just, I need money. Though, let's be real, the economic pressure is huge. Often the starting point.
Oh, absolutely huge.
Yeah.
That came up again and again in the personal stories, especially for young women. Students drowning in debt.
Tens, hundreds of thousands sometimes. It's insane.
Trying to pay tuition, rent that's sky high, even just groceries, in cities where just existing costs a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
So you can totally see how, if you're struggling and your friends are all going out doing expensive things, this might start looking like the only way to keep up, to get those experiences, or just survive.
It's pragmatic, brutally pragmatic sometimes.
And didn't you read something about the platforms targeting students?
Yeah, offering free premium accounts if you sign up with a .edu email. That's not subtle. They know exactly who's feeling the squeeze.
It's a direct pull, a response to a really messed up economic reality for a lot of young people.
And the stats back it up, right? Women holding way more student debt, feeling more financial stress.
Yep. Yeah, like 2/3 of the debt belongs to women, I think I saw. And significantly more women list money as their biggest stressor compared to men.
So it's not a huge shock that more women end up in these situations. It feels systemic, not just individual choices. For many, it's not luxury, it's survival. Paying rent, buying books.
But then it gets more nuanced because it's not always just survival mode. Sometimes the motivation is something else entirely.
Definitely, like empowerment, control.
Yeah. I read this one woman who put it so clearly. She said, it was a great way for me to feel that sense of control and for me to just kind of run things how I wanted them.
That's powerful.
It really is. It's like using what you have, your skills, your personality, your looks maybe, to get things you couldn't otherwise get. And not just fancy stuff. Sometimes it's just time and allowance so you can study or pursue art instead of working 3 minimum wage jobs.
Setting the terms. Being in the driver's seat, maybe for the first time in some areas of their life.
Exactly. On my terms. That phrase kept coming up. It's reclaiming agency.
And sometimes that overlaps with like a sense of adventure.
Yeah.
Pushing boundaries.
Totally. Some people talked about it like that.
Yeah.
Bending the rules, defying expectations.
And there's even that weird social capital thing, like being able to subtly brag to your close friends or getting access to a whole different world, different class.
Yeah, it's not just the what you get, but the how, the experience of it, what it says about you, your resourcefulness.
It becomes part of your identity almost, a story you tell yourself.
And then there's the emotional side, which really surprised me sometimes.
Yeah, how so?
People finding genuine connection or outlets they couldn't find elsewhere. Like, I read about a widow.
Huh.
She wasn't ready for traditional dating, but she still had needs, emotional and physical.
Needed something in between.
Exactly. Or younger people exploring their sexuality in what felt like a safer space, maybe, without all the heavy relationship pressure.
Right. Less entanglement, maybe more explicit boundaries.
So it's not always cold and transactional. There's often a real desire for companionship, intimacy, even care, just within a financially defined frame.
That makes sense. And for others, maybe the appeal is the clarity.
Yeah.
The straightforwardness.
Oh, yeah. The business transaction angle. Quid pro quo, no games.
Everything's on the table, no guessing what does this mean. For some people, that clarity must be freeing.
Totally. Which kind of loops back to gender, right? And how we view these motivations differently.
Yeah, that study I mentioned was fascinating, linking women's openness to it, often with early life scarcity.
Scarcity. Like not having much growing up.
Kind of. It's more about developing this mindset, this strategy of needing to acquire resources, leveraging whatever assets you have. A pragmatic response learned young, maybe.
Okay. And for men?
For men, the study found it was almost all about a short-term mating orientation, basically wanting casual encounters without long-term commitment. And it wasn't linked to their background at all.
Wow. So for women, potentially rooted in economics or past experience, but for men, more about relationship style preference.
That's what this particular study suggested, which feels telling. about societal pressures, maybe even evolutionary psychology arguments, right or wrong, different drivers.
And it's interesting thinking about male sugar babies then. We don't hear about them as much.
But they exist. Twinks and daddies, older women with younger guys.
Right. And the stigma feels different, doesn't it, when the woman is the provider?
Totally. We have terms like hobosexual or trophy husband. It's the same dynamic, one person supporting the other, but the judgment isn't nearly as harsh.
Which just shows how gendered the judgment is. Women leveraging certain assets get slammed way harder.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the really tough part, the power dynamics, the consent issues, the ethics.
Yeah, the uncomfortable stuff beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Because even if someone feels in control, that power imbalance is usually huge.
It's almost inherent, isn't it? The older, wealthier person, usually the man often has, well, basically all the leverage.
And that leverage can be abused, pushing boundaries.
For sure. And I read some really disturbing things about grooming tactics. Moving things offline fast, getting compromising pictures.
Using them for blackmail? Oh my God.
Yeah. It's not just theoretical risk, it's actual abuse happening in these spaces.
That's terrifying. And even without explicit blackmail, just the weight of the money.
When someone's spending a lot on you.
Gifts, rent, whatever.
That pressure for sex. Even if it's never said out loud. I read someone saying they felt like I had to have sex with him because of the money.
That ugly swap feeling, it erodes your agency, even if you technically agreed to the arrangement initially. It's insidious.
Which makes you really question consent, doesn't it? Like, what does consent even mean in this context?
It's way more than just saying yes.
Yeah.
Philosophers talk about needing acceptable alternatives. Meaning, if you're choosing something out of pure desperation, because the only other option is like homelessness or dropping out of school, is that choice truly free?
Right. If your back's against the wall, how voluntary is your yes? Exactly. And someone mentioned how realizations during the process can change everything. What felt okay at first might later feel like abuse, looking back.
That's chilling. The idea that consent isn't fixed, that it can shift with context or time.
It really is. But then,
Yeah.
here's the contradiction.
Yeah.
Some people, especially survivors of assault, actually find the explicit consent culture in some sugar communities refreshing, even healing.
Wait, really? How?
They talked about it being a very consent-based lifestyle where things are discussed up front. We're asking, are you okay with this? Before it happens is the norm. For someone whose boundaries were violated before, that clarity can feel wonderful, liberating even.
Wow. Okay, so it can be coercive and potentially empowering around consent, depending on the person and specific dynamic.
It seems so, which is just incredibly complex. It blows up any easy categorization.
And it highlights that gap between like legal definitions and personal experience.
Totally. Some places ban it as sex work. But what if the person involved says, hey, I'm not a victim? Who gets to decide?
Right. It's a mess. Which leads straight into the ethics debate.
The minefield. Is it exploitation, paid rape, as some critics call it?
Or is it just adults making arrangements? It's nothing unethical if everyone's honest and willing, as others argue.
It really hinges on whether you think true consent is possible when there's such a big power and money gap, especially if desperation is involved.
Can you consent under duress, basically?
That's the core question. And the argument that using money to coerce someone into doing things against their best interest is inherently unethical. That's a strong point.
But then, if the person feels they're getting what they want, if they agreed, where's the line? It's
Yeah.
so blurry.
So blurry, no easy answers. And beyond the ethics, there are these hidden costs, right? The emotional toll.
Oh, God, yeah. The emotional labor. We talk about it in regular relationships, but here, it's like level 1,000.
Totally amplified, constantly performing, filtering messages, creating fake personas for safety.
Pretending attraction, managing the other person's feelings, making sure they're happy.
It's exhausting. I read about someone, an extrovert, feeling totally drained, like an introvert, after just a few hours of it.
Losing pieces of yourself. That phrase stuck with me.
And that double burden you mentioned, having to manage their emotions and suppress your own, like your unhappiness becomes their problem, not something they care about.
Yeah, that's incredibly isolating, which ties into the stigma.
Huge. Almost everyone mentioned it. Internal shame, dissonance.
Fear of being judged, slut-shamed, reduced to a stereotype.
And not just internal fear, real fear of exposure to family, friends, future employers.
Living a double life, telling lies, worrying constantly that someone will find out and think differently of you.
Or that it'll ruin your career path. Imagine trying to be a doctor or a lawyer with that hanging over you. The need for absolute discretion. It's a massive weight, and it's not just fear, it's real consequences. People using non-monogamy in divorce battles, getting harassment claims at work just for talking about it.
Society punishing you for not fitting the mold, forcing you to perform monogamy everywhere.
It's intense. And then there's the actual physical danger.
Yeah. What if I get kidnapped and murdered? That's a real thought people have. Meeting strangers. It's inherently risky.
All the safety precautions, sharing locations, having friends check in, it speaks volumes.
In the digital risks, too. Doxing, scams, blackmail.
Payment platforms shutting you down just because they're anti-sex worker, even if it wasn't sex work.
It's a constant state of vigilance, physical and digital.
And all of that can lead to real disillusionment, right? Feeling used, thinking all men just want sex. It messes with your head long term.
It really can twist your perception of relationships entirely. It's so much darkness.
But there's that lifeline, the community.
Yes, that was so important. People building their own support systems.
Mutual aid funds, safe chats online, places to vent, get advice, help each other out financially sometimes.
Someone literally said they wouldn't have lasted without those spaces.
It shows that need for connection, for understanding, especially when you're dealing with something so stigmatized. Finding your people.
Absolutely. And that need for community, for different ways of relating, it connects to these broader shifts, doesn't it? Challenging the norms.
Totally. Challenging mononormativity, that idea that monogamy is the only way.
A charmed circle idea.
Yeah.
Where monogamy is good and everything else is bad or weird on the outside.
And that structure is used to marginalize people, to judge them.
But people are pushing back, especially in, like, consensual non-monogamy spaces.
Yeah, defining relationships by love, intimacy, ethics, consent, not just by whether it fits the monogamous model.
And some queer folks see it as part of their identity, right? A way to challenge heterosexual norms, break the mold.
And some even say it's not a choice, it's just who they are, intrinsic. Like they can't be monogamous and be authentic.
That's a huge reframing from lifestyle choice to core identity.
And it's interesting how the CNM movement is learning from LGBTQ plus activism.
How so?
Focusing on policy, education, legal protections, like those non-discrimination ordinances for poly people in places like Somerville. It's strategic integration.
Yeah. But there's that tension within the movement too, right? About how much to focus on sex.
Yeah, the familial approach versus the sexual freedom approach.
Frame it as chosen family. Downplay the sex to be more acceptable.
Or lean into sexual freedom. Reclaim terms like ethical slut and fight to destigmatize sex itself.
It's a tough balancing act. How much do you assimilate versus how much do you demand society change for you?
Exactly. And when you zoom out and look at dating now with inflation and everything.
Money is just everywhere. The cost of a date, people admitting income matters in who they choose.
It really feels like dating is becoming more financially defined for everyone, doesn't it? Not just in these explicit arrangements.
Yeah, it is. Which makes you step back and ask, what do we really value in a relationship?
Is it the money, the provision? Is it emotional connection, shared values, freedom?
It forces you to question the scripts. What society expects versus what you actually need or want beyond the norms.
And there's no easy answer for whether sugar dating is good or bad. It's just there. Complex, contradictory.
Yeah. Driven by need, by desire, by societal forces, all crashing together.
In the most intimate parts of our lives.
It's just, it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
The layers. You think you get it, and then you peel back another layer, and it's something else entirely.
Or something you don't even have words for yet.
And maybe that's okay. Maybe it just leaves you thinking with more questions.
Maybe that's the whole point.
This episode is powered by NeonKore Media for stories they said were too real to tell.